Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Flash, and thank you again for joining me for another Marvel Snap video. So, strap yourselves in. This one's gonna be a little bit longer than, my normal videos, but we are going over all the cards for this upcoming season, the Avengers versus X-Men season, right? We're going to cover the season pass card and the several card releases throughout the month, along with their spotlight caches, right? Whether or not you should be targeting those cards at all, what you should be doing with your resources, if you should be using tokens, if you should be looking to use spotlight keys, right? So get prepared, get ready. Before we get into that, let's get all the housekeeping out the way. If you like these videos, I appreciate it if you just hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe, pass it along. That stuff goes a long way, you know that. Thank you so much, and I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for just being on this journey with me. I very much appreciate it, and I very much appreciate every single one of you that stop by, checks out my videos, checks in on me personally, checks me out, hangs out with me in other avenues, right? And those are the avenues. Those links will be down below, but check me out on Twitter, GWFlashX. Come on over, hang out on Twitch, Gaming with FlashX. Play Marvel Snap 3 days, sometimes more during the week, and that's it. So again, now that that's all out the way, let us get into Avengers versus X-Men March season. Let's go. Okay, so first and foremost, we have the season pass card for this month, Hope Summers. She is a 3/4 with the not ongoing, not on reveal, it's a static ability. After you play a card here, you get +1 energy next turn. First and foremost, the season pass is the best value in Marvel Snap, period, if you want to be spending money in the game. Okay, we know that by now. So whether or not you love what the season pass card is or not, if you have the $10 to spend, just spend it. You're getting a guaranteed Series 5 card, which more times than not is a good card, right? And you're just getting incredible value. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the card. Hope Summers, a 3/4. Is she good? Yes. Is she Miss Marvel good when she came out? No. However, this card is going to be very strong. Those of you that have been playing the game for a while now, remember the Silky Smooth meta, right? It was good, wasn't it? Well, Hope stands to probably bring that back, because you play Hope, so imagine you throw Jeff in there, you throw Silk in there, you throw eventually Vision. You're now throwing cards into this lane where you're like, yeah, I just want to play a bunch of stuff in there that I can even move out if I need to. Hey, maybe, just maybe, Hope Summers rescues Kitty Pryde from Marvel Snap Purgatory. I don't know. It could happen. If any card is going to do it, it is going to be this card. This card is just good. If we're going to, I'm going to want to rate these cards, right? Just so everybody kind of gets a feel for what's good, what's not good. Out of 5 stars, I'm going to give Hope a 4. Across the board, she's just going to be a good card within the game. Long term, right? She's good. She's going to be good now. She's going to be good later. She might not be excellent at any point where it's just like through the moon. Now, granted, if some other cards get buffed up, right? Speaking about those bounce cards specifically and those move cards, maybe, who knows what happens. She may be better later. We don't know. She could be worse. But for now, I have her as a 4 out of 5. Take that for what you will. Let's move on to the next card. All right, so the card releasing this week with Hope Summers is Pixie. She is a 2/1 with the on reveal. Shuffle the cost of all cards in your deck that started there. Now, the text had changed a little bit from before, with the data mines, where she used to be able to work with Thanos. Now that's not going to happen, thank God. But this is an interesting card that is going to require some creative and deep diving with deck building, right? Most people's first thought is Mr. Negative and what can we do there, and that's not wrong for thinking that. She might go in Mr. Negative and just break the deck. Who knows? This is one of those cards, Pixie, where she's probably going to end up being really good or really bad. I don't think Pixie has a neutral in between, but I don't know what the in between is, and I don't think anybody does until we start to play test this card. So for the moment, I'm gonna put her at like that 2.5, 3 range, closer to 2.5, maybe even 2 to start out with, and then maybe who knows what happens from there. This is not a card that I'm targeting, so I have her low on my priority list. I would say I have her sitting closer to 2. So take that information and do with it what you will. Now, as far as her spotlight cash goes, here's the thing. It doesn't have great value. Is Spider-Ham a good card? Yes. Is Mobius Triple M, is he a good card? Yes. But they're both Series 4 cards. If you really want these cards, just spend the 3,000 tokens, get those cards, and then not burn your very valuable spotlight keys on trying to pull those cards. I would recommend not using keys and spending 3K to get either Spider-Ham or Mobius if you do not have them. I am not going to be pulling for Pixie. You are all welcome to make whatever decision you want. You're all grown adults, most of us, and let's move on to the next card. So the next card we have up. Now, I am going to try to stay in the order that the spotlights are going to be coming in. Now, of course, they could flip it on a dime and decide, well, this one is going to go before this one, but it should be pretty much locked in. So the next week should be Mockingbird, right? She is a 5/9, costs 1 less for each card you have in play that didn't start in your deck. Mockingbird is very good. Okay, my opinion is that Mockingbird is very good. Her first home is going to be Thanos, of course, because guess what? The stones don't start in your deck. So you play 2 stones out to the board, all of a sudden Mockingbird is a 3/9. And those of you Thanos players, on average, how many stones do you play a game? 3? So okay, she's a 2/9 every game. That's pretty crack. On average, that means Mockingbird is a 2/9. In no universe is that bad. Okay? She can't be interacted with Shang-Chi. Her ability can't be turned off by Enchantress. Mockingbird is going to be very strong. Okay? I put Hope at a 4. I'm tempted to put Mockingbird at a 5. At the very least, she's a 4.5. She's teetering on 4.5 to 5. I'm leaning 5 for Mockingbird, but that's just one man's opinion, right? I think she's a 5. Don't hold me to that. I also think there's room for what we consider to be the rankings of these cards coming up here. I think she either ends up being arguably the best or second best card in this month. I'm leaning towards second best, which means I'm leaning maybe 4.5. But enough about that. Let's get into her spotlight cash for this for that week. Her spotlight cash will include Miss Marvel and Man-Thing. So not only is Mockingbird one of the 2 best cards coming out next month or this month, whatever, March. She has one of the 2 best spotlight caches. Miss Marvel, that is perpetually a card that when put into decks, a lot of people ask, well, I don't have Miss Marvel, what card do I? If you didn't buy the season pass that had Miss Marvel, Now is your opportunity to get your hands on the card. I'm sorry, she's been nerfed since then. This is why you need to buy the season pass. But this is a week you want to pull. Okay, you want Mockingbird. She's Series 5. All the cards are Series 5. And hot take, I don't think we're getting straight to release Series 4 cards anymore. But until otherwise said, it's been 2 months straight now with straight to Series 5 cards. I don't think they're releasing straight to Series 4 anymore. They might tweak the system in some other way. Stay tuned. We'll find out. You want Mockingbird. You still want Miss Marvel. Even after her nerf, she's still a very good card. Do you want Man-Thing? No. Man-Thing is a very awkward card to use and to make good. If you're all in on Man-Thing, that means you want to be playing Luke Cage. And nobody is playing a lot of either these days. I don't know what card is going to come and try to rescue those cards from purgatory, but currently that whole Toxic, Man-Thing, Luke Cage, Hazmat isn't really a deck right now that's popular. It's not very good. It's in a very funky spot. But you want Mockingbird and you definitely want Ms. Marvel, so definitely you want to save up some keys to pull for this week. Let's get on to the next one. All right, so moving on to this next week, we have Cannonball. He's a 5/8 that reads, move the highest power enemy card here away. If you can't, destroy it and then replace it with a rock, right? It's a non-revealability. I don't have the text on screen here because the wording had changed since the card was previously data mined, and then it wasn't until the dev video update that we got the official change to the text on the card, which made the card what we thought was going to be bad now all of a sudden is very good. I don't know about very good. Good. Okay, definitely much better than previously, because now he's going to target the highest power card in your enemy lane, which, again, if you watch the dev video, naturally the first thing you think of is Blob. And I know Blob can't move, which means it's going to get destroyed, right? So now, if you play around not having priority, and you wait for them to drop that Blob, and Cannonball says, okay, that's a free destroy on Blob. Yes, I know you could think, like, well, I could just play Shang-Chi. Yes, you could, but this is a wider spread usage for a card like Cannonball, depending on, you know, the certain decks, whatever the case may be. But who says you can't play both? Now you're playing Shang-Chi and Cannonball. Okay, so that's not necessarily a bad thing that you could be doing. Cannonball is going to be a new tech card that goes in different places. Who knows? If you want to get really creative, and those of you that like to kind of go all in on tech, now all of a sudden you may be playing a Zabu, Sarah, tech stuff, right? And now you have a Shang-Chi that costs 2, and you have a Cannonball that costs 4, and guess what? Now you can do both of those things on turn 6. That's really strong. But that's just one thing that just kind of pops into my head right away. But Cannonball out of 5, I would now put him he's in the 3 range. We're gonna need to see. He's about a 3 right now, because we need to see what happens with this card, how it's used, how strong it really is or not. He looks to be good, but the door can swing. We'll see what happens. Now, as far as the Spotlight cache, he's going to be releasing with Kitty Pryde and Ghost Spider are going to be in there. Now, if you weren't lucky enough to get Kitty for free, this is not a great week to pull for with keys. This is a very difficult week because you don't need Ghost Spider. You don't need Kitty. Kitty's not great right now. I unfortunately think this is one of those weeks that if you really want Cannonball, you know what? Don't. You have to really want Kitty here and or Ghost Spider. Now, Ghost Spider is strong in that Phoenix Force archetype that's asking you to move things on, I don't think you should use keys this week. Is Cannonball going to be good? Probably. Maybe. But we don't know that for sure just by looking at the card. It's not like Mockingbird. I don't think it's a wise idea to burn keys this week. Unless, of course, you have all the other cards and you have this surplus of resources. Then, yeah, sure, whatever. Then you don't need me to tell you, just go ahead and just use the keys. But if you're very limited with what you are going to be able to do with them, don't. Because you're going to need them for Mockingbird and for the next card. All right, this is the card that I was referring to that you want to also be saving your keys for. War Machine. War Machine is a 4/6 with the on reveal until the end of next turn. Nothing can stop you from playing cards anywhere. This is a 5-star card. If you don't think this is a 5-star card, I'm not sure what game you're playing. And I don't mean that as a slight or any type of shade. There's no scenario that exists in Marvel Snap where this card isn't just damn good in most games. War Machine, first of all, decent stat line, right? For cards that have strong effects, 4/6 is good. See Iron Lad, okay? With strong text abilities, I should say. I said stat lines, right? That's weird. Anyway, this card works with Zabu. So now he's a 3/6. Do you want him to play him on turn 3? Probably not. But you'd probably want to play him on 4 or 5, which means you don't necessarily need to be playing him with Zabu. But a 3-cost card with this strong of ability that you could play on turn 5 with something else is very strong to be doing. War Machine turns all your cards that you have in your hand into Jeff for an entire turn. I don't know how that isn't good. This card is hype. Yeah, there's a lot of hype around this card. And it's justified. And I think this card is going to deliver. This is a card that if you don't have, you're going to be sad you don't have it. Because everybody else that has it, that uses it against you, please get this card. Save your keys up. Now, this currently is the last week of the season. Save your keys. Make sure you have 4 keys saved up for the last week of the season. You want War Machine. We all know how strong Jeff is. Jeff is a good card. Jeff is arguably the best 2-drop in Marvel Snap. Has been for a long time. He's kind of been, less off-used now, but whenever there's a lockdown meta, Jeff becomes, one of the best cards in the game again. And guess who's going to be right along with him? War Machine. Will lockdown decks be playing War Machine? Sure. But guess what? You should be playing War Machine also if that ever comes back around. If Professor X gets really strong again, people start doing storm stuff and all of that, War Machine. Heck, you could play War Machine. Yeah, you play him with Zabu. You could play War Machine on turn 3 and get into Miniaturized Lab before your opponent can. Maybe you want to get into Miniaturized Lab and play Professor X on turn 5. Hello. That's something that you can be doing. War Machine also now guarantees maybe on turn 5 if you're playing like a Zoo style deck and you're worried about, oh man, I hope my opponent doesn't play Sandman on turn 5. War Machine says, don't worry about it. No problem. War Machine can help you get into Sanctum Sanctorum. This is a 5-star card. This card is good. Get this card. End of story. Now, onto the Spotlight Cash, which by the way is also very good. It's got Silver Samurai. It has Silk. Silk, one of the better cards in the game. She's a 2/5. She moves around. She goes into different archetypes that have been very strong in Marvel Snap. You want Silk. You don't necessarily. Now, Silver Samurai, I believe, is still Series 4, which means if you really want him, get 3K, spend the 3K. But if you don't have him, there's no reason why you shouldn't be using 4 keys this week anyway. So if you don't have Silver Samurai and you don't have Silk, you are holding on to 4 keys until the end of the month to get War Machine, to get Silver Samurai, to get Silk. End of story. Now, of course, if you pull War Machine and you pull Silk, then you really don't need Silver Samurai. I'll just putting that out there. But if you happen to hit Silver Samurai first and you have to keep going, then you're still not sad about that. Silver Samurai is pretty good, and he's got some damn good variants. And he's kind of underrated in discard like kind of archetypes. But he's not a necessary card. And if you don't really care for the discard archetype and that style of play, then you don't really want Silver Samurai. But if he's your first card you pull, kum si kum sa, right? That's it. This is a good cash. This is arguably the best week of the season. And it's no surprise that's why it's the last week of the season. People are going to be chomping at the bit for this card. Please save your keys to get War Machine. Do not get left out because you have no clue when this card is going to show up again in another Spotlight Cash later, or if you're going to want to spend 6,000 tokens on him. Is he worth 6,000 tokens? Hell yes. I spent 6,000 tokens on Jeff. There's no reason why you shouldn't entertain the thought of spending 6,000 tokens on this card. If you want it, if you were like, hey, what card this month should I spend 6,000 tokens on? The answer is War Machine. If you have the other cards already and you have the 6K tokens to spend, use them on War Machine. You got a whole week to save, you got a whole month to save them up anyway. Just get this card. Do not be one of those people that are like, oh no, it's not, it's okay, it's overhyped, it's not going to be that good. Don't be one of those people. Because guess what? Those people are still getting the card. So don't listen to those people who are still going to be getting the card anyway. And then you're like, well, I thought you said it was overhyped. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still going to get it. Don't listen to those people. Please get this card. Don't be left out in the cold, okay? War Machine's going to be good. All right, everybody. That has been my ratings and rankings for the March season, Avengers versus X-Men. We went over the Spotlight Caches. I hope you guys got some information for it. You already know what to do. Like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I'm Flash. Come hang out with me on Twitch at Gaming with Flash X. Hopefully, you took something away from this video of value. Get War Machine. Catch you guys on the next video. Peace.